Another federal agency has complaints about conditions at Port Hamilton Refining and Transportation's refinery on St. Croix's South Shore. After the Environmental Health Agency's inspection in September, the U.S. Occupational Safety and Health Administration conducted its own inspection of the refinery in November, and on Sunday, OSHA shared with the media a letter it sent to Port Hamilton outlining what it called serious concerns. OSHA inspectors found conditions that, quote, create risks for employees should an emergency occur at the facility, including an insufficient number of emergency responders, a lack of training for those responders that are on site, and a lack of emergency response procedures. Port Hamilton has already agreed under the recently issued EPA consent order to remove dangerous chemicals stored in rusty tanks that the EPA said posed an imminent risk of hazard. However, before that removals process is completed, OSHA says the anhydrous ammonia, liquefied petroleum gas, and other chemicals fall under the administration's Process Safety Management Standard. The refinery's documentation falls short of that standard, OSHA says, in terms of the fire brigade on site. OSHA also says the idled refinery has, quote, no specific procedures for responding to chemical releases, no procedures for responding to fires, a lack of on-site trained personnel available to respond, and uncertain access to emergency response equipment. That uncertain access is because there doesn't seem to be a plan for Port Hamilton to share emergency services with Ocean Point terminals. When the terminals and the refinery were both owned by Lime Tree Bay, many services were shared. Now, Ocean Point Terminals, quote, has the bulk of emergency response personnel and equipment. With no apparent coordinated efforts between the two entities, OSHA says Port Hamilton needs to set up its own independent emergency response system. OSHA Area Director Alfredo Nogueras tells Port Hamilton that the administration's inspection of the refinery has not yet concluded, but the risk to the health and safety of on-site employees due to the lack of adequate emergency response capabilities meant that he wanted to raise those concerns immediately. Nogueras says he expects a written action plan from PHRT addressing and correcting the deficiencies by December 15th, that's this Thursday. He warns that citations might still be forthcoming once the inspection concludes.